Hey, this is Kahja Elliott, Bronx born and raised, ATL made, Bay Area becoming, and this is the As Told By podcast. All right, we're back with this week's episode of the As Told By podcast. So what I love about this season is now that I am mobile, I am in all kinds of places recording episodes. And today I'm in the dog patch at Besharam, which is an amazing restaurant that I was introduced to a few months back. If you remember, I posted a reel with my experience here, things I had never eaten or seen or heard of before, which were amazing. But I came back. The food was so good that I came back to interview the chef. So I'll introduce you. Chef Heena Patel is the chef and co-owner of Besharam, a regional Gujarati, thank you. Restaurant in San Francisco's Dogpatch District, recognized as a James Beard Foundation Awards Best Chef California semifinalist in 2022, a Gold House Gold Chef semifinalist in 2024, garnering accolades from Eater San Francisco as the Restaurant of the Year in 2019. Roughly translated to mean shameless, Besharam features Heena's bold interpretation of the flavors and dishes that were prevalent throughout her childhood in India, playfully reimagined with a California context. So welcome to the As Told By podcast.
Thank you, Kahja. Thank you for this amazing introduction and opportunity to share my story through my food.
Yeah, so it's been a minute since I've seen you. Last time I saw you, it was over food.
Yes.
Yes. I mentioned when I was introducing you that this is tucked away in the dog patch. But when you come in, it is not what one would expect walking into your thoughts of an Indian restaurant, right? I know that many people have like a preconceived notion or what you've seen before, but I loved that this was turning what you think you might know on its ear and inviting you to explore Indian food in a little bit of a different way than you might be accustomed to.
Like you said, it tucked away. I'm surrounded by the community residential area. The place, I didn't have much choice when you start out a new business, and I was taking chance with my food, with the place. So even if it's tucked away, I was confident that if the food is good, what I served, maybe the guest will come, they will find my spot. And I took a chance when I came here almost 5 years ago.
And they found you back here. The night I came, by the time we were leaving, it was a packed house. It was a packed house. So people know about you.
Slowly but surely it's happening. It's very exciting. Very, very exciting, fulfilling. Sometimes I want to do it again and again because of the excitement I see on my guest faces.
I know we were talking before we started that you recently were featured on one of my favorite shows, Check Please Bay Area. How was that? That's one of the shows I love so much, just not only because it's food related, but it really highlights the best of what's in the Bay Area. So I know those recording days are hectic. What was that like for you?
Wow, that was felt like a full circle. When we came in 92, early 90s, me and my husband used to watch that because we were living outskirts of the city in Marine. So we didn't know where to go or which restaurant to visit. So we watched every week. And me on that show felt like, wow, it's such a full circle for me. And I enjoyed the whole experience. They made it so easy. It was such an involvement with the whole team from their side, from my side, and it took place in 2 or 3 days, but it was flawless.
I love it. Fun fact, I actually had an opportunity to be on Check Please.
Yay.
And it was so fun. I had the same feeling you did. I had watched it for so long that when I got there, it was a little surreal, like, oh my God, it looks just like it does on TV.
Yes.
So shout out to the crew of folks over there at Check Please. But taking it back to the beginning, so I read that you were born in, is it pronounced Balasinor?
Balasinor.
Balasinor. Okay, so in the state of, and you'll have to help me with my pronunciations, is it Gujarat?
Yes, you got it.
Okay, got it. So explain a little bit more about the region and the specifics of that kind of cuisine versus what we might hear or know of from other regions.
I love that question. Born in state of Gujarat, which is a very lush area, most of the population, they are farmers. And they grow lots of vegetables, grains, pulses, and whatever they grow, they showcase in their food. So Gujarati food is vegetarian. I am vegetarian all my life, and I ate what we grow. So I introduced to lots of variety of pulses, grains, again, lots of flour to use in my everyday cuisine and everyday what we ate 3 times a day. So, without realizing, I've been introduced to vegan and gluten-free early days of my life.
All by accident.
So this cuisine is rich, is old, almost like 5,000 years old.
Wow.
So it's full of techniques, full of ingredients, and that comes without even forced into it. We've been reached of what we ate and how we cooked, how we preserve the originality of the ingredients without over-processing it, without overcooking it. And that, the richness of the ingredient is Gujarati food. You will get the texture, you will feel the sourness, the sweetness of the grain, the fermentation, light fermentation, all that natural, that takes the cooking process made more fulfilling on its own. And that I learned from watching my grandmother in early ages. And I was a child. I didn't even know what I want to do. But that forced learning happened early childhood days when I shadow my grandmother, then my mom, my aunts, and now even my sisters. I learned so much by just shadowing everyone.
I just said, and I've said it a few times this season, not that this is really coming as a surprise to me, but so many people specifically cite their grandmothers as their culinary inspirations, their first culinary heroes. Moms and aunts are in there too, but grandmothers were out in front.
That's so. As I'm more involved in the cooking, I realize my grandmother cooked different than my mom. My grandmother used less ingredients and very fresh. She used to cook in middle of the farm and prepare the fresh lunch for my grandfather. And they ate right in the farm, middle of the farm, as they take the lunch break. And she pulled out the small onion from the ground, and without touching the knife, she squeezed out the juice of the onion, peeled it, and served it with the chapati and shak. So that, the boldness of the ingredient and the simple, the elegance, that something never left my memory. That the stamp of my grandmother on my, as I evolved my cooking. My mother, she taught me a lot, of course, but she told me to have a patience when I make sauces, and the same ingredient how to use in so many different ways. That frugality I achieved through my mom.
Okay, so a little bit of both of their approaches come together to help create yours. I love that. So you also lived in London for a period of time, and I'm curious about how that influenced your culinary sensibilities, because I know that region is renowned for being a hub of Southeast Asian food and culture. During the time you were there, was the culinary appreciation that is so prevalent for it now, was that there during the time you lived in London?
Living in London, for me, leaving India and straight went to London, and lots happening that time. It was like I met my husband, I got pregnant with my child, I was living with my in-laws. So again, maybe the culinary scene was happening, but I didn't get chance to go out and experience food because I was so busy with my private life. But it was a bridge for me between India and the life in Bay Area. London exposed to me to the different culture, how we buy, the variety of the food, like potatoes of so many different types, chilies of 10 or 12 different types. I felt like, what is this? This is like a luxurious life. As a farmer, what you grow is limited by the space, by the climate.
Yes.
So my expose in India to the culinary was limited in a way with the ingredients. Also, I've been exposed to different Indian cuisines, but going to London, I exposed to other international cuisines.
Yeah.
Thai food, first time trying, Chinese food, and all that. Wow, is this vegetarian? I was jumping up and down, trying first time my panang curry, trying first time stir-fry vegetables. And that is the introduction of me. Maybe the seeded idea, if I have a restaurant, I would love to do that. And that London played a part in that.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to go. I want to say this was in either 2018 or 19, but like you said, it reminded me a lot of New York. Just the layout, but the diversity, and of course that translated to the diversity of foods. So I remember spending time in Borough Market, which blew my mind. And that's just one of many markets that they have. But there was just so many spices, cheese, wines, veggies, all the things, right, that were there. And then also spending time in, where's the area? The name is escaping me right now, where they had so much Caribbean food. Electric Avenue was where we got off the train. What is the name of that place? Does it start with a B, that city? It'll come back to me. Okay. I'll call it out. I'll call it out when I remember it. But I can definitely understand living there, and during formative years, like you said, you met your husband and became a mom, and, now you're probably immersed in, cooking and those things. So being in a place where it was super diverse, that being a part of your, growing your culinary journey.
Yeah, like you mentioned, maybe now, the South Asian community is so much more, and it feels like other New York City. When I visited now Borough Market, amazing Indian restaurant and different regional food from India. It's fun.
Yeah,
it's fun to visit now when I have more interest to eat out. when I get inspired myself, and those are the visits to the restaurant, to the books, to the home. Different homes. I still have my family in London, so it's fun to visit back.
Yeah,
and have a different experience than
Absolutely.
when I came first time.
And I remember now, it's Brixton. Shout out to Brixton. I couldn't remember the name, but I had so much good Caribbean and African influence food there. So yes, super diverse.
Yes,
love it.
It's nice to go back.
So now your menu here at Besharam is fully vegetarian, but there's vegetarian and plant-based options, I should say.
Yes.
But it's not reliant, I found when I ate here, on processed foods. And, there's some, but there's barely any foods that are really designed to mimic meat. So did you ever feel like that was a challenge as far as your ability to come up with a wide array of flavorful dishes, or has working strictly with vegetarian and plant-based ingredients freed you up to get more creative?
The creativeness comes for me to the memories I had food in my brain early childhood years, and how I cook keeping the same taste in my food. And that creativeness comes with, like you said, I hardly use any plant-based to mimic the meat-based product, but it freed me in a way. It's like, why not? the whole process is educating my guest, and same time there is so much adventureness happening in the culinary scene, where we're trying to save this planet. We're trying to teach the guest, eat less meat, eat more plant. And I myself never had any meat, so I'm never trying to cook the vegetable that tastes like meat, because I don't have that
don't know
concept.
what it is, yeah.
Yes. So even if I have veggie meatballs, but I heard they are very gamey, they taste like lamb, but my approach was not that. My approach was, okay, this invention is happening and it's so amazing, why not introduce to the guest to realize like there is so much more we can do to go green and to eat better. Especially for my family. We are all vegetarian, but my husband do eat meat, and I want him to stop eating meat. And it's like, look, try this instead, and not have the real lamb. Maybe you will love this, and he does. So same for my guests. I want them to have, not every day, but if you are here, try this, try my food, and hopefully you will enjoy your experience.
Yeah, and not missing anything. When I was here, I did have that dish that was made in the style of meatballs, delicious. But my favorite things that I had were the things that didn't have any meat, and they weren't trying to mimic it either. So those were the dishes that really, really stood out to me. So I love the creativity that you've been able to bring to say, maybe you're a meat eater and maybe you're thinking about stopping, and here's all the wonderful things you could be eating if you're not eating meat.
Yes, again, the richness of this cuisine, I was missing it when I went out, when I came here early years of my life in Bay Area. I was missing what I grew up eating back home, and I felt like there is a gap, and I want to fill up that gap with introducing dishes like kadhi, like khichu. Those humble dishes needs a little recognition. Just like myself, I want to shout out to the pav bhaji when they eat. Is all maybe they are street food, but they are full of flavors. They are full of ingredients and layering of those flavors. You will taste that when you put it in the mouth. And that's something I'm trying to do through my menu.
Yeah. Flavors and fun. Because it was fun eating here. Even down to like the dishes, right? There were beautiful dishes that had like fun sayings and pictures and artwork on them. The space itself was fun. So it just was a whole vibe, right? Like I was saying earlier, a different experience of Indian cuisine.
Yeah, I want to bring the little lightness, little, like you said, the fun, the gimmick. But above all that, the message stays the same, which is this food is nutritious, it's healthy, it's tasty. So come and try it out.
It's all those things. I'm a witness. So Chef Heena, you are also an alum of one of my favorite organizations here in the Bay, La Cocina. For the folks who don't know, La Cocina is an incubator for women, immigrant, people of color-led food businesses. What was that experience like, and what were some of your biggest learnings there?
My business founded at La Cocina, and I'm so proud to say that. When I almost 10 years ago, my professional culinary journey started. 2014, I submitted my application to La Cocina as a part of their incubation program, in hoping they will accept me and hoping I will learn how to make my home food cooking to take it on a professional level.
Okay.
And to learn myself how to become a professional in a restaurant owner maybe, or having a mobile food truck. Anyway, how I make myself to jump from home cook to professional cook. La Cocina, when I entered, I was a little bit apprehensive in a way. What if they say no? How I will accept that? And I got lucky in a way. They said yes. I got celebrated of who I am through my food.
Wow.
And La Cocina was the place that more I cooked the dishes they never been heard before, the more they were like, what you want to do next? How we introduce your food to the public. And that made me so excited. And other thing, I felt very inspired by the woman I surrounded by. I thought, I had to rethink, because the age I am, I'm going to turn 59, and
That's a good old 59, Chef Heena.
And that makes me think, can I survive? What it takes to run a restaurant is a lot of standing on my feet. And that made me a little bit rethink. But La Cocina, when I see the woman surrounded, and when I cook next to them, they are older than me. And they were working their ass off. And they were stronger. They were excited. And they were telling stories. None of us had the same language. They were from different parts of the world as well. And that, like okay, whom am I kidding? I can do this. So those are those ladies, those food I learned, I surrounded by, and that's the part of La Cocina I still carry with me.
Yeah, they are amazing for what they bring to Bay Area food culture. I had an opportunity a while back, I want to say it was in 2022, they had a cohort that was ending, and they had a dinner with all of the people who were graduating from the cohort over at the marketplace.
Yeah.
And it just was so much fun for everyone to make their dishes and the things they've been working on. And, you know, I have quite a few foodie friends who are products of La Cocina. So shout out to Chef Nafi over at Tirenga and Lily Duran at Clandestina Cocina and Stephanie over at De La Creamery. Quite a few of my food friends are from La Cocina. So love that.
Yes, they have expanded. I've been graduated almost 5 years ago, but it's been bigger and better now than when I joined them. So I'm so excited how they're doing and how they're developing. So many new cohorts, and they are amazing. They have so much talent, even when they joined, more than when I joined. So very proud.
Growing, making sure we have all the food representation we want and need here in the Bay. You know, there's intentionality to the way the menu at Besharam is laid out. And what's the journey that you're looking to take diners through? And then tell me a bit more about the chef's tasting menu experience.
As soon as you enter my restaurant, Kahja, I'm taking you on a culinary journey. And that's my intention. You're coming to my home at Besharam, but also I'm going to take you back where I grew up. And I always associated cities with the food. And as a child, we traveled through Gujarat, different cities of Gujarat, to get to try those dishes. And that came through my parents, through my cousins and elders in the family. And that something stayed with me, and that was so much fun. It was such a good experience to try food. Those cities associated how they serve the best, that one dish. And that's what I'm trying to achieve with my menu. I'm taking you in a culinary journey through the cities of Gujarat, where they're best known for. And same goes with the tasting menu. Tasting menu is so special. As I mentioned, how my mom is my culinary hero. And she stays in my brain every time I cook in my kitchen. Don't throw that away. You can use that. And that, okay, Mom, I'm taking it out. And use the stems of the cilantro. So that's something I can't ignore, or is more important now because I cooked in so much more bigger quantity. So wasting, non-wasting of my produce is the biggest investment I teach to my chef, and how we and saying that we don't waste even with the amount we serve. There is a zero waste we try to do, and that's very important. So, to answer your question, tasting menu is showcasing what I learned from my mom, and like I'm opening up her pantry and what I cook. If she visited me, I want her to try those dishes. Mom, look, this is what I learned from you. And I'm putting my mom on my map, on my menu, through the tasting menu.
I love that. We get a little bit of your mom when we come in and taste that. And at I read it's $75 a person, so I'm sure it's an amazing value for what you get.
Yes. So again, sometimes I can easily charge more of what I serve, but the idea is not. Idea is I want the guest to enjoy the flavors. I'm introducing new flavors, new dishes, and I'm giving them more for the value because I know is worth of them taking chance on my food, on my tasting menu.
Yeah. When I was here, I think I did a la carte ordering, but I will be doing the tasting menu next time. I want to get the full treatment. You mentioned your husband, and you co-own Besharam with your husband, Paresh, and he oversees the beverage pairings, many of which I noticed looking at your menu highlight spice. And what's been your approach in creating beverage options that complement rather than compete with some of the spice profiles customary to Indian food?
It is important to complement both each other, the food and the drinks, because guests are looking for experience when they visit. Like what you remember when you were here, Kahja, is the whole experience. You had fun, you had the humbleness of the ingredients, but that goes parallel to each other. And all the drinks, what Paresh created with my barley is like a recipes, same like what I create, the menu. And we take our time. And that's why the spices overlap. Sometimes you see the same spices, what I prepare the food, same goes in the drink. Because they both need to complement each other to have the whole experience, and that the hospitality, the customer service, the guest, how they feel when they walk in, it's all has to be the next to me serving the food from the kitchen.
Yeah. The drinks, the menu selection for cocktails was extensive.
I will let Paresh know that.
Yes.
I will have that.
This is really good. With Besharam being symbolic of your traditions, and we know that traditions evolve over time. How do you navigate staying true to your culinary roots while looking ahead at the evolution of food culture?
I think this is a great time to serve my food. Sometimes I ask myself, what would Besharam open when I first came in Bay Area? I was like 26 years old, full of energy. How would Besharam, what would I have served? But it's more fun for me to do now than when I was younger. Again, like you said, I have been current, relevant, staying past and the present. It provided me the whole picture. I raised my 2 children here, and they kept me relevant of what's serving around me and what they eating when they go out. And that is so necessary to be fluid, to change with the time. And that's something past and present has to go hand to hand. Otherwise, we are stuck in it doesn't work because we change with the time. So my food has to change with me. My food has to travel with me. I left India, went to London. I introduced to my mother-in-law's cooking, my mother cooking, and how I evolved with my children when I cook for them. And that all has to come through now. And that's happening at Besharam.
Yeah. I mean, you're in San Francisco, which is such a transient city, right? People are, recruited to come here for a career. And, I meet a lot of people who are from San Francisco and just the Bay Area in general, but more times than not, it's transplants. Myself, I'm not from the Bay Area originally, so with the influx of people coming and moving, and it's a global travel city, right? I completely hear what you're saying about, yes, we're anchored in traditions and we're anchored in, what's culinarily familiar to us, but also looking around. So I'm smiling that you said your kids keep you, have kept you over the years relevant, looking around at food trends and restaurant trends and making sure that you have some footing and a place in that.
You are absolutely right. With the TikTok and with the social media, the world is smaller.
Yeah.
The funny thing, my sisters back home, they ask me, Heena, how we cook with broccoli? And I will ask them, how you cook this dhokla in a different way? So it has been flipped because they are more curious about the ingredients that are available in India, which is not in the past. And I'm more curious about what my grandmother used to cook. And it's been fun. The world is smaller, of course, and also we all kind of eat the same thing. We all eat the rice, the bread, the vegetables, and pulses, and soup. And there is so, even we grow up in a different parts of the world, our food is same. Yeah. Our language is same. And that's something I don't need to learn because I can connect with you through my food.
And the community of food is the same. The application, right? From place to place is always the same. What you bring out to show love, what you bring out to show camaraderie, what you bring out to show family, it's food.
It's food.
Yeah.
And it's love and respect, and it felt like I've been heard. And when the guests remind them of their childhood dishes, means like I heard them. And that's something so celebratory to have this restaurant.
Yeah. You mentioned that you're 59. What does it mean to you to be building this at this time in your life? Because, some would argue, well, starting and running a restaurant is a young person's game. And, that's absolutely debatable. But, quite naturally, you've been in the industry for a bit and there's other things you could be doing. So what does it mean for you to be doing this at this time in your life?
This is the first time in my life I'm doing what I enjoy. Since now I have done so many things in a professional world. I run the flower store. I work at Sears selling appliances. But that all to pay the bills, to pay the mortgage, to pay the college education. But this, running a restaurant, serving the food, what I grow up, that's something I'm so passionate. I'm putting so much my emotions in it. And that keeps me going, and I don't feel tired some days because some days I'm so excited. And every time 5 o'clock comes, I'm ready to go. I want to share this food. I want to open those doors and welcome you in. And that energy, I never felt that before, Kahja. That's something new for me. And my children remind me, this is my dream. And it's like, yes.
I love that. I love that because, this is a generalization. It's different for everybody, but there's something that like formal work sometimes just does not give you as far as what is edifying to your spirit and what you really want to be doing. Just doing the podcast and food content, and now this year I'm moving into food travel, And I feel exactly the same way you said. And I'm still doing both. As we sit here, I have my work badge around my neck. I scheduled my day-to-day to be able to dip out for a while and do this. And I'll be going back to the office once we're done here. But, you know, as I move around and my friends are like, oh, my God, I see you on Instagram and you're here, you're there, and you're traveling and you're doing this and doing that. Aren't you tired? But I'm not, because I'm finally doing what I want to be doing.
Yeah. And like you mentioned, that's something I should have been done or earlier of my life. But it's a journey of finding out myself, and it's the right time of doing what I want. I didn't have that voice within me or guts to say, what if I fail? And what if I don't try? That was more pronounced in my head than regret.
Yeah.
And that's something I caught on later in my life, that age doesn't matter, but if I don't give this a try, I will bother more when I'm 75.
Yeah, yeah. Showing your youngsters how it's done. You know, just as we wind down, you know, for people who either think they don't like Indian food, or for people who are just very comfortable with the typical offerings of Indian food, what would you say they should expect differently at Besharam?
Besharam serves the food, Gujarati food, which is luscious, like we mentioned before, with the ingredients itself, the layer of the flavoring, and taking chance on all of that. Even if it sounds new to you, please order that dish, because that dish needs to see the life of the restaurant. That dish cooked by generations by women in Gujarati household, and they never got a chance to see the light of restaurant. So I say, order the dishes that sound new to you, and and you will enjoy that. And that's something I try to do at Besharam, introducing newer dishes to you, but because I know it carries so much traditions, so much respect, and shout out to all the Gujarati women who carried out those dishes years and years and years. And I'm showcasing those dishes.
Traditions living on through you. I love it.
I'm trying.
Tell people where they can find out more information about you and about Besharam.
Through your podcast.
Okay. Well, you're in socials as well?
I am. Yes, we have our Instagram page is live and running, and my family is involved with me. So my children runs the social media. You will find us at Besharam SF on my Instagram page, Besharam Heena on my personal page, and I will be honored if you join me.
Okay. I love it. I will make sure I post that information with the show notes, as well as the address of where you can come down if you want to try some of this amazing food for yourself. I'll also just throw a challenge. I love to not look at the menus. Now, I don't have any food allergies, so I'm free to do that. But I love to not look at the menus before I come to a restaurant and just show up, right? So that thing you said about come in and order the thing you've never heard of, come in and, check out this thing you don't know anything about. I love that. And I raised the challenge. Don't even look at the menu. Just show up. Just show up.
Just show up and say hi to me.
That's right. That's right. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me today. I will absolutely be seeing you soon over food, and I'll be bringing folks with me when I come.
Thank you, Kahja.
You are so welcome. If you want to keep up with me in between episodes, you can find me on Instagram at Hey K in the Bay. That is this week's episode of the As Told By podcast. Peace. Bye.